I explored how to draw foil balloons without reference, and I had a video on how to draw them. You can refer back. I'll put the link down below. And since this year, I started to draw the months, January, February, with different effects. Like this one, ice, and this one, water. And for March, foil balloon again. And because I want to complement it with something, so I tried foil balloon dogs. So today I'm gonna share with you what I came up with, the rule of thumb to draw foil balloon dogs without reference. By the way, I also had a video on how to draw pearlescent balloons. As I shared in my video on how to draw foil balloons and also some other drawing videos, the gist is the value differences and the placement of the right values, not the exact color. So no matter what color you use or no matter what hue you use, the most important thing is you get the values right. I referenced a few photos when I drew these two, and basically the placement of the light and dark values are pretty much the same, but the main difference is that whether the balloon is placed on something dark or on a different background, I should say. And for this one, it was obviously on a white table, and this one, the background was somewhat more complicated, so you can see more color variations. But you can still come up with some rule of thumb that you can apply and draw your own foil balloon dogs without referencing real photos. First of all, you draw the outline of the dog first, and every part is pretty much like a sausage, except for this part, which is like a trumpet, and the tail here is smaller, and the connection with the body is pretty much a straight line, like so. And I find that for the front legs, when I referenced the photos, for most of them, the front leg is somewhat curved like this, not very straight. But for the hind legs, they are straighter. Then there is the darkest part here, which is somewhat like the foil alphabet balloons. And because I want to demonstrate the value difference, so I'm going to draw with pencils this time, and I will demonstrate using markers and color pencils. So it's somewhat like this, and because the highlight points are I think reflection of the windows, so they are pretty much like a rectangle, but because it's scrunched on the surface of the dog, so it's not a regular rectangle. It is scrunched, especially this one, like so. And also from choosing the photos, the references, I chose this one because it has more color variations, like here. And for this one, it is much simpler. And I thought at that time, before I drew them, I thought that this one would look more real. But after I drew them, I found that this one doesn't look so real. But I think that's probably because the color I used is somewhat more gray, and it should be brighter. And for this one, because the value contrast is huge enough, so you can see it is very shiny, and it looks more like foil balloons. So here, something like that. And you can add some shadow here. And that's basically the main shadow part. Something like that. The pencil I used just now is a 2B. Yeah, now I'm using 4B to reinforce the shadow. And I'll see how it goes if the situation, when I see it's necessary, I may use 14B as well. And remember, don't draw harsh lines. Even though the light and dark values are huge, but the transition is soft. Something like that. And there's also a dark area and some highlight here. Oh, I forgot this part. So the shadows are pretty much diamond shapes with also diamond shapes of highlights at the center, something like that, and some shadows at the junction between each part, and also junction at the back. I mean at the rear part of the limbs, and also at the bottom because it's touching the table. Something like that. Now we are going to refine it. In order to make the highlights stand out, I have to color the other parts like so, and I'm using 4H. You can scribble in strips of different value, light and dark. Don't make it very even, something like that. And also smooth out the junction, I mean the transition between dark and light areas, something like that. Now it already looks very much like a foil balloon, but I want to reinforce the dark areas, so I'm still, I won't use the 14B pencil. forgot this part. There is the 2B to reinforce the edge. Just scribble in some mid values, something like that. And if you are not happy with it, you can always erase it. Like so. I've lost some of the highlights, so I am using a needle eraser to erase some of them. For the highlights, it does not necessarily have to be white all the way. You can have some darker values, like a value of 9, and the lightest value is 10. So it can be like that. Okay, something like that. So it already looks like a flower balloon, right? So you can see that the dark value or the shadows are pretty much like this. And for this one, it is shorter, and for this one, it is longer. And for this one, it has more value differences, and this one, fewer value differences. So you can choose between them, and or you can have a combination of both. Okay. Also, for the 2 legs behind these 2 front legs, because they are behind, so they should be darker than the front ones. Also for the ear. And also for the hind leg, or the legs behind, in this picture it is these 2 behind, not these 2. Okay, so you don't need to draw the shadows like this. I mean the shape, like exactly like the front ones, or the those at the front. So you can just scribble in some long shadows like so. Pretty much finished, but I'll do some touch up on some areas like the seams, and maybe lighten up some areas here to make a contrast. So I'll show you the finished product. I've added some mid-tone color here, mid-tone hue here and there to make the color not so even. And you can refer back to my how to draw faux balloon, alphabet balloons without reference. And if you want to further lighten up some area that you've already applied alcohol ink, you may need to use an ink gel pen and just dab on it and then use your finger to soften it, like so. And I think that's pretty much about it. Something like that. Yeah, that's what I want to share today. Thanks for watching. Bye.